हमारे साथ है, उसका तारुफ किसी एक प्रेजेंटेशन से ज़्यादा लंबा है, तो आप लोग प्लीज़ bear with me. It is a privilege to have with us today one of the foremost authority on South Asian history and the numismatics, Dr. Sanjay Garg. Dr. Garg is an eminent researcher whose distinguished career spanned over 3 decades, marked by a profound dedications to the study of South Asians economy and monetary history, currency and coinage, architecture and archival studies. With 32 books and 67 research papers published in print and multimedia format, Dr. Garg extensively documented research has contributed immensely to our understanding of the region's rich history tapestry. For a complete list of his scholarly work, you may refer to the available bibliography on even his own website also, where you can go and search all the work which is present there. Dr. Garg holds a doctorate in history from Jawaharlal Nehru University with prior degree from the St. John's College, Agra University, and a specialized training in archival studies from the National Archives of India. Fluent in Hindi, English, Urdu, and Persian. That is really a remarkable. And with a working knowledge of French, he brings impressive linguistics depth to his research. He served the National Archives of India for an illustrious 36 years since 1988 to 2024, holding key positions including Deputy Director of Archives. Amongst his major initiative was the launch of the Abhilekh Patal, online search portal, which is one of the biggest tasks of the National Archives of India. It's very difficult to be online the record through the Abhilekh Patal, and he did a very distinguished task in this. A landmark contribution to archival accessibility in India, you can say that. Beyond his work in India, Dr. Garg has made a significant contribution internationally. He was the first Deputy Director Research at the SAARC Cultural Centre in Colombo and Director of the Swami Vivekanand Cultural Centre in Kazakhstan. He also served as an officer on special duty at the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav Secretariat under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Dr. Garg's service record includes numerous high-level appointments as editor, as committee members, expert advisor, and guest at the leading academic and the government bodies in India and abroad, no doubt. These include roles with the Indian Institute of Research in Numismatic Studies in Nasik, the Reserve Bank of India, the International Institute of Social History, and the Cambridge University Modern Asian Studies. A mentor, an educator, even he is a mentor of my PhD also. He guided me a lot in the subject of my PhD. And Dr. Garg has guided students and the professionals as a visiting faculty, examiner, and postgraduate supervisor at the Premier Institute in New Delhi and Mumbai. His remarkable work has been recognized with the prestigious fellowships, including the Charles Wallace Scholarships at the Fitzwilliam Museum, University of Cambridge, a residence fellowship at Centro in Country Umani in Switzerland, and a visiting fellow at the Ashmolean Museum and the Wolfson College, University of Oxford. Mr. Garg has dedication to research, teaching, and archival advancement continues to inspire scholars and practitioners worldwide. May I therefore invite Dr. Sanjay Garg to the stage to share his wealth of insight with us today. Please join me in the warmly welcome Dr. Garg.
Our distinguished audience, I'm humble with the presence of B.M. Jalan sir, Grishi, Jain sir, and all the stalwarts of this city. Let me begin by an apology here. I come from Mumbai. I shifted there about a month back. और भाषा का बड़ा वहाँ ये है कि आप क्या बोलेंगे और कैसा बोलेंगे. So English had been my academic language. तो दिमाग से जब मैं लिखता हूँ तो अंग्रेजी में लिखता हूँ. मातृभाषा मेरी हिंदी है. और जब दिल से लिखता हूँ तो मैं उर्दू में लिखता हूँ. जो तख्लीकी ज़बान है वो उर्दू है. So maybe I'll be using a mix of all three, so excuse me for that. Patna has got a special place in my life. I first came here about 30, almost 30 years back, 36 years back, and वो ज़माना तब था 1986 में. 40 साल हो गए अभी, 39 साल. जब मैं नासिक में जो न्यूमिस्मैटिक इंस्टीट्यूट है वहाँ पे काम करता था, मेरी पहली नौकरी थी. और उसके जो डायरेक्टर थे वो सभी लोग परिचित हैं यहाँ पे पटना में. वो पटना से ही गए थे, मूर्धन्य विद्वान डॉक्टर परमेश्वर लाल गुप्ता. Dr. P.L. Gupta retired as the director of the Patna Museum in 1972, and after that he was living with his sons in Mumbai, and from there he was requested to head the newly established Institute of Numismatic Research in Anjaneri in Nasik, and that's where I joined. And one of the institute, just for your information, was used to document the coin collections of various private and public museums, and hold a photographic archives so that people can under one roof can consult the photographic images of various coin collections and compare and do their research. So that was the mandate of the institute, and in that connection I was asked to come to Patna and document the coin collection of the Patna Museum. तो पहली बार मैं यहाँ पे आया, मतलब पहला साक्षात्कार बिहार की धरती से और पटना से हुआ. यहाँ गांधी म्यूजियम में एक गेस्ट हाउस था, उसमें मैं रह रहा था. रजी अहमद साहब उसके डायरेक्टर हुआ करते थे, और आई स्टेड देयर फॉर अबाउट almost a month, more than a month, and studied the coin collection here. So, but after that, I've come here many times. It's a historical city, has a huge, legacy of heritage, and it is always a pleasure to come here. So, thank you for inviting me. Before me, two persons, scholars have spoken from this dais. Vinita Sinha spoke on unknown history, focusing on the oral archives. And today's topic is also a bit related, about the written legacies. But before that, let me begin by congratulating Aditya ji and his team, and Mr. B.M. Jalan for putting up with this fabulous platform called Planet Patna. I was saying that I don't remember any city having a city museum as such. The concept is very common in Europe, but in India there's hardly any city museums, and this is one of the platforms as it has been conceived. So congratulations on that. About the Jalan collection, I first heard about it from P.L. Gupta himself, and he personally knew at least 3 generations of Jalan family, starting from Rai Bahadur and coming to Bala sir. And I, as his student and in his product in numismatics, I also happen to know now 3 generations of Jalan family, and you being, sir, the common link between the two. So thank you for that. Now, the importance of I'm staying in Kila House, and I had the opportunity to just have a glimpse of the fabulous collection that this family holds, ranging from, when you name anything which is qualified as antiquity, and you'll find it there, from sculptures to inscriptions to coins to manuscripts to paintings to lithographs to rare books, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, importance of the private collection, I'll give you one example. There was somebody called Sir Hans Sloane. Sir Hans Sloane was a physician. He was an Irish physician, born in 1660, and he died in 1753. And he was a naturalist, and he was also a collector. And by the time of his death, he had collected about 71,000 items, which range from natural history things to coins to rare books to, and he was a remarkable man. He was also the royal physician for at least 3 British monarchs. And for the younger generation, he was the one who, when he visited Jamaica, he was fascinated with the coffee being produced there. So whenever you eat milk chocolate next time, you should remember his name, Sir Hans Sloane. He was the inventor of milk chocolate. So his collection he bequeathed to the nation, to the Britain, and that formed the nucleus of what we know of the British Museum, the British Library, and the Natural History Museum in London. After his death, an act of parliament was passed to acquire that collection, and that collection became the British Museum. There's a single man collection. So the importance is well known of the private collections, but unfortunately in India we get very little support for rather it becomes a tool of harassment for the private collectors by the government authority, which is very unfortunate. The archival collection, which normally people don't collect, they get accumulated. But the way it has been put here is remarkable. So you've already taken us for about 10 minutes of my time. So I'll just give you so this is an outline. Let us talk with the basics, start with the basics, and then the early writing media. I'll come to it. I'll just pass it through. So these are the 3 terms which you must have heard of: a document, a record, and an archives. Are they the same? Yes, no. If they are not same, what is the difference? Is document a record? Is record a document? So let us see the definitions that we have. Document means, if you see the literal or the dictionary meaning of the word document, any written piece of information is a document. It could be a letter, it could be a newspaper, it could be a manuscript, a book. Any written piece of information is a document, which expresses any thought or any belief. It could be on any subject under the sun. But the question is whether this document, a letter which I have written to my brother, for example, is it a record? The answer would be no. So what is a record? This is the definition: that information created or received or maintained by an organization or person. Now, the following words are important: in pursuance of legal obligation or the transaction of business. So when these qualifiers are met, then a document becomes a record. If you are applying for a admission in a college, your application is a record for the college. When the college or university awards you a degree, that degree becomes a record for you. Your birth certificate, for example, a death certificate, it's a record because it has been produced or created or transmitted in the course of the official transaction. So this is the ISO definition taken from ISO. So, and irrespective of its format, it could include correspondence, minutes, invoices, personal records, health and safety registers. The things go on: accounts, agendas, reports, contracts, purchase orders. So anything which has got an official transaction becomes a record. The third word is archives. Now, what is an archives? Archives is taken from the old Greek word called archeon, and the archeon was the magistrate's office, and that's magistrate office used to maintain all the records. So that's where the word archives has come from. And again, if you see the dictionary meaning of the word archives, it will give you two explanations. One is a certain category of records which are archived. That means which are preserved for the posterity or preserved for their informational value. And the other is the institute, that the building where these records are. So you say that I am going to National Archives to consult the archives. So archives is the collection, and the institute is the National Archives of India, or the administrative setup. Now, if you see the symbiotic relationship between the documents and records, so any document can be recorded if it meets, whether it's created by an individual or a family or organization or an institution, which has been created for a specific purpose, like legal requirement or business transaction. Then it becomes a record. And the symbiotic relationship that it has, I covered that. So we can conclude by saying that all documents are records, but all records are not documents. Sorry, all records are documents, but all documents are not records. And definitely all archives are records. So if you were to, these are the documents, certain portion of the documents are records, and within that is archives. So let's begin from here. Coming to the private archives. Now, private archives is an archives of of private individuals or a non-public organization. It could be a trust, it could be a educational institution, it could be a religious endowment like a mutt and all. A lot of archives is there in various Jain Adhishtan. They've got a lot of archives. So anything which is non-public. Now, public is again a dicey word. When we say that the public fund, it's a government fund. It's nothing to do with public. A public building, it's not a public building. You can't enter without a pass. So it's a government building. So anything which is not in the government's hand is considered within the broad definition or broad scope of the private archives. And it could include educational records, as I said a while ago, the service records if the person was in service, rewards and honors, Rai Bahadur, Khan Bahadur, Diwan Bahadur, and so on. Financial records, loan, mortgage, all that thing. Property records, sale purchase of property, land, etc. Legal records, मुकदमा हो गया, दावा हो गया, कुड़की हो गई, वो सब. Horoscopes. In National Archives of India, महात्मा गांधी के पेपर में उनका जन्म पत्र, वो पूरा जन्म पत्री बनी हुई है. तो हॉरोस्कोप किसी ने बनाया था महात्मा गांधी का. So horoscope, which is in the Hindu families, it is something which is preserved, I mean, by default. Press clippings, pamphlets, I mean, the list goes on and on. Correspondence, yes, diaries, scrapbook, photographs, and also the films later on. पहले वो 8 mm पे वो बनती थी फिल्म्स, और उसके बाद वीडियो कैसेट्स आ गई, CDs हैं. तो all that is, so which is irrespective of their format, they all qualify to be included under the private archives. Now, having established that what we are talking about, let's quickly run through that what were the early writing media. So we know of the Harappan seals, and we have got some sort of a script. People claim that they have deciphered the script, but it has not been deciphered, but it is definitely an script. There are the similar symbols on the seals. There's a signboard, and there are various other formats, but like even Brahmi, it was not deciphered till the mid-19th century. Ashokan Brahmi, matlab, the pillars were there for the last 3,000 years, but people could not read them till James Princip deciphered it in 1830. So we don't know what is written, but this is definitely a script, and it was used as a writing medium. The other writing medium, the middle picture, it's not a laptop, for your information. It is from a vase, a Greek vase, and what this person is doing is writing on a plank of wood coated with wax. So first was the clay. It was easily available. You just have to moisten the clay, let it dry in a semi-solid state, and then anything to do the incision, and you have got a ready-made media for the script. In the second image, you will see that a wooden plank was coated with wax, and with a stylus, the script was written. And this is, of course, Loria Araraj, Bihar ka hi, pillar inscription hai, Ashoka ka. So the clay, the wax, the stone, they were used as a medium. Then copper plates, Tamrapatra, they were used. And this is, as far as I know, the earliest inscribed coin after the punchmark coins, which did not have any symbol. This is a coin which was discovered in Iran, in Madhya Pradesh, and the name of the king or the issuer is written in Brahmi, early Proto-Brahmi. It's called Ishwaradatta. So it's not very clear on this coin, but this is so far as we know the earliest inscribed coin. So on metal we find copper plates and coins. Then the tree products. So bark was used as a writing surface. भोजपत्र हमारे यहाँ यूज किया जाता है. The earliest manuscript which are available, the part of it is in the National Archives of India, is on Bhojpatra. These are the Gilgit manuscripts, Buddhist texts in Gandhari script. And then various type of trees were used. So bark was there. Then leaves were used, like Tadpatra and Talpatra. Palm leaves, they were used. Bamboo leaves were also used for writing. So there are various medium on which the writing has traveled over the years, over the centuries. There's some animal product which are not very relevant in Indian context, because most of the earliest text in the manuscript, they were religious texts. संस्कृत में और एनिमल के जो चर्म था वो अशुद्ध समझा जाता था, तो उस पर रिलीजियस टेक्स्ट नहीं मिलता है. लेकिन दूसरे वर्ल्ड के दूसरे सिविलाइजेशंस में हाइड्स, वेलम, पार्चमेंट, ये सब बोन्स मिलते हैं. कैमल बोन्स पे इंस्क्रिप्शंस मिलते हैं, आइवरी पे, टॉर्टोस सेल पे भी मिलते हैं अफ्रीका में. सो दे आर वेरियस एनिमल प्रोडक्ट वर आल्सो यूज्ड एज अ राइटिंग मीडियम. क्लॉथ came into use, both silk and cotton, and the scrolls, and they were used as late as in the 19th century. The big scrolls of clothes, they were used for writing. And of course the paper. The paper became so prevalent, and after its discovery in China, it traveled to India through Silk Road, and the paper started being manufactured here, and that was like a proliferation of writing throughout the world, especially in South Asia, where a large number of manuscripts were written on paper. If we talk of the manuscript traditions of India, let's understand what is a manuscript. Excuse me if I may sound very pedestrian, but that's how I want to begin from the beginning. Manuscript, again, it's the Italian word, manus, hand, scriptum, writing. Anything written from hand, that's the basic definition that you get from the word manuscript. And in modern times, any unpublished draft, whether it's computer generated or what, it's also manuscript. I have sent a manuscript for printing, so that's also manuscript. But these are the various dictionary. In Hindi and especially in Sanskrit, you will find a similar nomenclature, Pandulipi. Why Pandulipi? Lipi, everyone knows, is a script. Pandu is yellow because the paper or the palm leaf, they were treated with turmeric before, and turmeric used to act as a an insect repellent, and that was, I'll come to that a bit. So Pandulipi is the common name by which the generic name by which we understand the other names such as Hastalekh or Matraka or Pustaka or Pothi, and they are various, they all means the same. There are two major traditions. One is the Sanskrit manuscript, which we find in various scripts, South Indian scripts like Tulu, Grantha, and other scripts, and then in North India, Sharda script, and later on in Devanagari, Nandi Nagari, and all those various scripts are there. And with the coming of Islam, a new tradition for the manuscript was introduced in India called Arabic and Persian manuscript. Mostly they are also written on paper, but the style of writing, I mean, the basic difference is that instead of writing from right to left, it used to be written from left to right, and वो पीछे की तरफ से खुलती है और आप ऐसे उसको पढ़ते हैं. So that is a major difference in the format, but the writing tradition or the nuances of the writing are basically different from the Sanskrit manuscript that were popular here. Then the regional languages in Gujarati, in Bangla, in Tamil, in Telugu, there are various regional languages which in Marathi, for example. And there are a number of scripts. I am not going into detail of that. And this is a map. If you see that the Indian manuscript, the manuscript which were produced in India, this is the dispersal. The majority of the manuscripts are in Europe, as you can see from this map. Very few manuscripts have survived, and this very few cross about 5 crore manuscripts. It has been estimated by the newly launched Gyan Bharatam mission of the Prime Minister. Earlier it was the National Manuscript Mission. So we are talking of a huge legacy of written media in this country. When I say country, I'm talking of the South Asia, which included Pakistan and Bangladesh and Nepal also. Now, how they did these manuscripts reached to all these places? The process started long back. We know of the two Chinese travelers who came to India in search of Buddhism and the knowledge system which Buddhism has produced. And one of the major takeaways was the manuscripts. It is recorded that Fahian and Shaoshan, Zhuangzheng, for example, he carried at least 600 manuscripts that he has recorded in his memoirs from India. Then with the coming of the British, they took everything. Like these are the two major, if I may use the word, culprits of exporting the manuscript and other antiquities out of India, Colebrook and Mackenzie. About 5,000 manuscripts are from Mackenzie collection alone in the British Library, and part of it is also there in the National Library in Calcutta. So they collected manuscripts, but if you see the positive side, that at least they cared to deposit it in some repository where they have survived. Otherwise, had they been in the private custody, the chances are that because of the neglect or because of the various other factors, they would not have survived to this day. So the colonization of India was also one of the major contributors in export of manuscripts out of India. I've listed about some major manuscript collection. Recently I was in Armenia, and they have got a huge institution called Matena Daran, which is dedicated to the preservation and study of manuscripts. And I asked about that, how many manuscripts do you have? They are having about 28,000 manuscripts. And there's a huge, institution, imposing building in Yerevan. The first entry, 2.5 lakh manuscript. एक इंस्टीट्यूट, कलासूरी जैन मंदिर, कोबा इन गुजरात. सरस्वती भवन लाइब्रेरी, वाराणसी, 90,000 manuscripts. लाल भाई दलपत भाई इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंडोलॉजी, 80,000 manuscripts. These are recorded. I mean, these are as per their websites and all. Then Saraswati Mahal Tanjavur Library, about 40,000 manuscripts, and the list goes on. So these are the top 10 depositories, and what is not documented, what is not listed, is anyone's guess. खुदा बख्श भी हैं, कल थे शकील साहब यहाँ, आज नहीं है. 28,000 मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट उनकी लिस्टेड हैं. Some of these manuscripts are being digitized, and I've just given the references here where you can access them online. One of the, I'd like to draw your attention to the third one, the Samhita. It's an acronym for South Asian Manuscript Histories and Textual Archives. And what they are doing is that they are acquiring the digital copies from the foreign collections, and they are collaborating with the Ministry of External Affairs. And the project head of this Samhita project, it is run by the IIC in Delhi. And the project head of this Samhita initiative is the same person who started the National Manuscript Mission, Dr. Sudha Gopalaswamy. So they are Gopalakrishnan, yes, I stand corrected, yes. So they are acquiring, and this is where the technology has played as a great facilitator, that you don't touch the original, but at least the content are preserved and content are shared for the common consumption. These are some of the manuscripts which have been listed in the UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. And it is such a pity that countries which are much smaller in size and have a, shorter history than we do, have much more entries in this Memory of the World Register than we do. We only have 11 entries, out of which only 9 are the single entries and 2 are the joint entries, joint nominations. And the third one, Gilgit manuscript, is with the National Archives of India. Okay, so traditional ways, if you have seen the pothis and other religious texts in your house, they are always wrapped in red cloth. So red cloth is a measure against the dampness, and also it acts as an insect repellent. जहाँ पे रेड क्लॉथ होगा तो उसमें या भगवा क्लॉथ होगा तो उसमें वो इंसेक्ट आसपास उसके नहीं आते हैं. आप एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देख सकते हैं. हल्दी का उसमें ये लगाते थे, टीका लगाते थे. हल्दी अगेन इज अ टर्मरिक, इज अ इंसेक्ट रेपेलेंट. धूप जलाते थे, इट एक्ट्स एज अ फ्यूमिगेंट. सो unconsciously so many rituals are built into various vidhan, that the preservation of the manuscript was ensured. और दूसरा ये होता था कि जब कोई चीज़ खंडित हो जाती थी तो उसकी कॉपी बना के फिर उसको किसी जल में प्रवाह कर देते थे. तो उसका मतलब ये खंडित मूर्ति की भी पूजा नहीं होती है, वैसे खंडित मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट की भी उसका पाठ नहीं किया जाता है. तो ये भी एक ट्रेडिशन था, so that it ensured that if the manuscript has become beyond repair, at least its contents are preserved by way of copying it. So there were various methods. Natural deterioration, because it's an organic material, it is subject to the variation in temperature, effects of light, biological infestation, and so on and so forth. So one way of doing it is have the optimum storage condition, so that's a preventive conservation. Once the damage is done, then you do the restorative conservation. So you arrest the extent of damage so that no further decay is allowed. And the third one is duplicative conservation, that nothing can be done, at least you can have a copy or the image of it. And the neglect has been like नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय के बारे में हम सुनते हैं कि 1 महीने तक आग जलती रही जब उसकी लाइब्रेरी जलाई गई थी. So we don't know what we have already lost. And Nalanda is one example. There are several other examples. Takshila is other example. And we don't know what we have already lost, but whatever we have inherited, it's our bonded duty to at least pass it on to the next generation. If you see the colophons of that's very interesting, of especially the Sanskrit manuscripts, in the end where the scribe's name is written, you will find a note about the that it should be preserved, and it says telad rakshit, tel se raksha karo, jalad rakshit, jal se raksha karo, rakshit shithil bandhanat, loosely bind mat kariye kyunki then the leaves would disperse. Rakshit shithil bandhanat, मूर्खस्ते न दातव्यम, don't give it to an idiot. एवं वदति पुस्तकम, ये पुस्तक कहती है. दूसरा उसका एक वेरिएशन है, उदकानिल चौरेभ्यो, उदक अनिल, अनल इज अग्नि, चोर से, चौरेभ्यो मूषकेभ्यो विशेषता, खास तौर पर चूहे से, कष्टेन लिखितम शास्त्रम यत्नेन परिपालयेत, बहुत कष्ट से मैंने ये शास्त्र लिखा है, इसको बहुत आप यत्न से, एफर्ट से, बाय टेकिंग एफर्ट्स इसका परिपालन करिए. एक और वेरिएशन इसका मिलता है जिसमें कहते हैं कि स्क्राइब कहता है कि कितनी मुश्किल से मैंने ये कंपोज किया है. भग्न पृष्ठा कटी ग्रीवा तुल्य दृष्टि अधोर्मुखम, मेरी पीठ जो है वो झुक गई है, मेरी मुट्ठियां ऐसी क्लिंच्ड हो गई हैं, मेरी गर्दन ऐसी टेढ़ी हो गई है. दुखेन लिखितम ग्रंथम पुत्रवत परिपालित, अपने पुत्र जैसे इसकी रक्षा करो, परिपालन करो. Now, coming to the private archives, I'll just give you a glimpse. Many of you who have visited New Delhi must have seen this building. It's now the name is National Archives of India, and earlier it was known as the Imperial Record Department. And when I tell people that this is the first building which came up as New Delhi, it is older than the Rashtrapati Bhavan, older than the North Block and South Block, older than the old Sansad Bhavan, and much older than the India Gate. It was completed in 1926. India Gate came up in 1931. So this is one of the oldest building when the British decided to establish New Delhi. The first building that they built was the Imperial Record Department. At that time it was in Calcutta, established in 1891, 11th of March. And it took about 10 years to transfer all the records piece by piece from Calcutta to Delhi. नई दिल्ली रेलवे स्टेशन होता नहीं था, तो ट्रेन से बॉक्सेस आते थे और पुरानी दिल्ली रेलवे स्टेशन में, और वहाँ से वो बैलगाड़ी में या टांगे में रख के उसको आम गार्ड के साथ, तो लोगों को लगता था कि ये कोई खजाना इसमें जा रहा है. और पुराने लोग उसको अभी भी टकसाल की बिल्डिंग बोलते हैं कि ये कोई मिंट है और इसके अंदर ये खजाना है, मतलब समझने वाले के लिए, लेकिन that's how people perceive it. And in 1947, after we gained the independence, the nomenclature was changed to the National Archives of India. Just a brief mandate, you can glance through it. It implements the Public Records Act and the Public Record Rules. Act is of 1993, and it is implemented on all the limbs of the executive. Judiciary is out of it, the legislature is out of it, but all the limbs of the executive, right from the Prime Minister's office to the public sector undertakings of the Government of India, They are all included within the mandate, and the National Archives of India is the implementing agency. What it says in nutshell, that anything which is more than 25 years old, if it is worth keeping, give it to the archives. If it is not worth keeping, get rid of it. Don't become an archives unto yourself. आप ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्ट्री हैं तो ट्रांसपोर्ट का काम करिए, पुराने रिकॉर्ड्स रखने का कोई मतलब नहीं है. And the role of the archives there is like a bank locker system. None of the records which are deposited there in the National Archives of India are in the ownership of the National Archives of India. The archives hold these records in trust for the creating agencies. So that is the mandate. And if you see the the collection that we have, altogether there are about 70 lakh records, files or folders, 70 lakh items, which comprise about 34 crore pages. And you are mentioning about the Abhilekh Patel, and this is the new logo of the Abhilekh Patel on the right hand corner. It is a work in progress, and every single day a few lakh pages are uploaded on Abhilekh Patel. Every day about 6 lakh pages are being digitized, and the idea is that in next 1.5 years nobody need to come to the National Archives of India. Everything would be available online. That's the world's largest and the first digitization project which is underway. 3 shift में काम हो रहा है, 200 लोग कंजर्व कर रहे हैं. So it's a huge project, and I'm happy that I had the occasion to associate myself. Some of the prominent private paper collection that we have now. Private paper, do you have another 5-10 minutes? अच्छा नहीं, अच्छा okay, because we started late. I've listed up I've listed a few important. There are about 270 private paper collections, big and small. One of the biggest collection is the Inayat Jung collection, which is of the Mughal age, starting from Aurangzeb coming up to Muhammad Shah. 1,37,000 documents, one collection. So they are big and small. किसी में 5 पीस हैं, किसी में 15 पीस हैं. Big and small. There are 270 collections. Ramanujam collection, for example. Ramanujam, everyone knows who he was. उनके हाथ के एक लिखा हुआ एक एप्लीकेशन है, which is writing to the Secretary of the Madras Port Trust, say that मुझे क्लर्कशिप दे दी जाए, मतलब क्लर्क की पोस्ट पे मुझे अपॉइंट कर लिया जाए. ऐसे कि आई एम वेरी गुड एट मैथमेटिक्स. Ramanujan is saying that. That was before he went to Cambridge and became what he became. Recently, the National Archives of India has brought out a book, The Journey of a Mathematician, where all these papers are discussed there. महात्मा गांधी के तमाम पेपर हैं. द ओरिजिनल FIR जो महात्मा गांधी के असैसिनेशन पे दायर की गई थी तुगलक रोड पुलिस स्टेशन में, ओरिजिनल उर्दू में लिखी हुई, वो है. अभिलेख पटल पे देख सकते हैं उसको. तो उसमें एक जब फिल्म एक आई थी रिचर्ड एटनबरो की, गांधी फिल्म, तो उसमें एक अनवांटेड कंट्रोवर्सी थी कि whether did he or did he not say these 2 words राम, हे राम, when he was shot. तो जो सब इंस्पेक्टर जो रिपोर्ट लिख रहा है, जो कैसा मैं वहाँ पर ड्यूटी पे था और 2 यूथ आए और उन्होंने गोली चला दी, और लिखा है उसमें कि और गांधी जी राम राम कहते हुए जमीन पर गिर पड़े. FIR में लिखा हुआ. सो जी हाँ, FIR में और टाइम उसमें लिखा हुआ है, मतलब 5:32 का उनका ये डेथ है, तो ये शायद 5:50 या 52 का, मतलब 10-15-20 मिनट या आधे घंटे के अंदर ही में वो FIR लॉन्च की गई है. एनीवे, सो महात्मा गांधी का तमाम कलेक्शन, गांधी निधि जो कलेक्शन था, तो वो सब नेशनल आर्काइव्स में है. बहुत सारे कलेक्शन जो हैं वो ऑक्शन में नेशनल आर्काइव्स ऑफ इंडिया ने खरीदे हैं. जैसे साउथ अफ्रीका में जब वो थे, तो एक हेनरी कैलेनबाख एक उनके एसोसिएट थे. थोड़ी बहुत कंट्रोवर्सी भी थी उनके बारे में कि कैसे उनके संबंध थे आपस में. बहरहाल, तो केलनबाग का कहीं ऑक्शन हो रहा था, तो थ्रू आवर एम्बेसी द नेशनल आर्काइव्स ऑफ इंडिया बिड एंड के सब ये नेशनल हेरिटेज है, इट शुड बी विद द नेशनल, सो एक तमाम कलेक्शन है. डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद का ह्यूज कलेक्शन इज विद अस with the National Archives of India. Lal Bahadur Shastri, I was personally involved in persuading Lalita Shastri to part with this collection. तो हम लोग जाते थे, मैं और हमारे आर्किविस्ट, लेडी आर्किविस्ट थे, और जाते थे. कोई कलेक्शन के देने वेने की बात नहीं होती थी, चाय वाय पी के चले आते थे वहीं पे जनपद पे. फिर फाइनली शी सेड के ठीक है, मैं समझती हूँ और मैं दे दूंगी नेशनल आर्काइव्स को. तो वो कलेक्शन दिया. कुछ पेपर्स, लेटर्स जो थे, कहते हैं कि साहब ये मैं नहीं दूंगी और ये मेरे चिता में जाएंगे, दे आर टू पर्सनल. वो नैनी जेल से उन्होंने जो शास्त्री जी ने जो लिखे थे उनको लेटर्स, और तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें हैं मतलब जो डॉक्यूमेंटेड भी नहीं है. फॉर एग्जांपल मिठाई खाने के शौकीन थे शास्त्री जी, तो वो खाने के बाद कुछ मीठा खाते थे, तो जब ताशकंद जा रहे थे तो वो कुछ लड्डू था या बर्फी थी, वो आधा खा के छोड़ गए थे, एंड ही नेवर केम बैक फ्रॉम ताशकंद. तो वो ललिता जी ने पूरी ज़िंदगी उसका एक पाउडर बना के डिबिया में रखा है, और खाने से पहले वो उसको खाती थी, एक जरा सा ऐसा ज़बान पर रख के, पूरी ज़िंदगी. सो इस तरह के तमाम एनेक्डोट्स हैं, प्राइवेट पेपर से. सो व्हाट आई स्टार्टेड बाय सेइंग कि जो ओरल हिस्ट्री है, इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू इंटीग्रेट द ओरल हिस्ट्री along with the collection that we are talking about. नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस का, जानकीनाथ बोस की डायरी है 1893 की, 1897 की, सॉरी, 23 जनवरी की एंट्री है, 3 लाइन की, लाल रंग से उन्होंने लिखा हुआ है. आई गॉट अप अर्ली, फाउंड प्रभा वाज स्टिल सफरिंग, अ सन वाज बोर्न इन द मिड डे. सुभाष चंद्र बोस, एक डायरी की एंट्री. अब उस टाइम में उन्होंने थोड़ी सोचा होगा कि सुभाष चंद्र बोस बनेंगे या नेताजी बनेंगे. सो these papers, archives, private archives, these are, I call them the unconscious creation of history. You are not aware that what you are writing and how important it would become. राजेंद्र प्रसाद जब यहाँ पे चंपारण में गांधी जी के साथ सारे खेतों में घूम रहे थे, उनको ये थोड़ी मालूम था कि मैं राष्ट्रपति बन जाऊंगा. लेकिन उस टाइम की उनकी डायरी है, उस टाइम उनका पासपोर्ट है. किसी ने पूछा कि नेहरू जी की हाइट कितनी थी, कहीं रिकॉर्डेड नहीं है. पासपोर्ट में पहले लिखी जाती थी हाइट 5 फीट 4 इंचेस. छोटे से थे, लेकिन उनकी पर्सनालिटी इतनी टावरिंग थी कि मतलब कोई मानता ही नहीं था कि सब इतने छोटे से होंगे वो. सो इस तरह की चीजें हैं, मतलब विच यू हैव टू रीड बिटवीन द लाइन एंड यू कम अप विद द फैबुलस इंफॉर्मेशन दैट यू हैव. INA पेपर्स हैं दादा, मतलब आई कैन गो ऑन एंड ऑन. सो वेयर वी आर लीडिंग टू, द रोड अहेड, मतलब अगेन कमिंग बैक टू प्लैनेट पटना. Private archives as a document heritage has got enormous potential, which first it should be recognized and it should be appreciated. Many of these stories which are there in the private archives, you would not find them in the government records, and they are so important for constructing the social history of either a family or a community or a region, or for that matter the nation. What is the collective contribution of the one individual or a set of individuals in building up of what, say, planet Patna? So often they represent, like in government records, it's only about the government activities. What about Mahatma Gandhi? He never held any government position, but his papers are important. On the other hand, people like Sardar Patel. Now, I'll just take 2 more minutes and try to wind it up. सरदार पटेल का उनका बहुत सारा आर्काइव्स उनका था, बहुत सारे पेपर्स थे उनके, और उनकी जो बेटी थी मणिमैन, वो उनके सेक्रेटरी के तौर पे काम करती थी. तो आफ्टर सरदार डाइड in 1950, all his papers were taken to Ahmedabad and they were there. और नेशनल आर्काइव्स ने कई दफ़े उनको अप्रोच किया तो वो कुछ घास नहीं डालती थी, कुछ एक्सेस भी नहीं देती थी. एंड इट सो हैपेंड दैट मोरारजी देसाई जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर बने, एंड द नेशनल आर्काइव्स ऑफ इंडिया डायरेक्टर वाज आल्सो गुजराती, SAI तिरमिजी. तो उन्होंने गुजराती में अपने से बात की, तो उन्होंने फ़ोन किया, मणि बहन आप क्यों नहीं दिखाती हो? मैंने कब मना किया, आके भेज दो. So that's how a team was sent, and on the site they microfilmed the entire collection, which runs into several hundred microfilm rolls. 2 या 3 साल बाद अहमदाबाद की फेमस बाढ़ आई, and everything was washed away. So only surviving evidence of Sardar Patel's private collection is the microfilm rolls which are there in the National Archives of India. They have been all digitized and put on a separate portal. मोदी जी के फर्स्ट टर्म में एक डिजिटल म्यूजियम बनाया था हम लोगों ने, आई वाज पार्ट ऑफ इट. और नेशनल साइंस म्यूजियम नेक्स्ट टाइम आप जाएं तो आप देखिए, पोर्टल भी है सारा, ऑल द करस्पॉन्डेंस. सो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज दैट इफ वी do not open our eyes in time, we are ensuring that we are losing this information forever. So the challenges are, you all know about, there are rights. सबसे पहले तो ये होता है कि साहब ये है किसका, तो लीगल एयर है नहीं है, ये कॉपीराइट है, ये किसके पास है. तो सबसे बड़ा प्राइवेट आर्काइव्स में एक ये इशू आता है. दूसरा फंडिंग कंस्ट्रेंट होते हैं, बिकॉज यू आर नॉट एन आर्काइव्स, आप यू आर रनिंग अ बिजनेस, यू आर डूइंग अ जॉब, बट दिस इज अ एडिशनल burden on your resources, so people don't take it very enterprisingly, and there's a very little public awareness that what is the importance of these collection. So I'm sure that the opportunities are great, and with the digitization and collaborative efforts and other things, there's an increased number of there are many researchers who are now consulting the private archives to do their research and coming out with the fabulous stories. In Ahmedabad, on business community, there's a PhD work on the Kutchi traders who traded with Muscat and other Middle East. An oral history initiative. So the way ahead is to collaborate, to grow together. When you spread the word, 10 people would say, okay, we have got certain things which we'd like to contribute, or which we'd like to preserve, or which we'd like to make part of the initiative that you have started with. So I'll end with this quotation, which has been taken from the Persian translation of Nal Damayanti. It's by Faizi, who was the younger brother of Abul Fazl, and it says, Namista bamanan siyabar safed, navizanda ra neest farda umid. Black written on white remains, that the writing remains, the author does not rely on tomorrow. So हम आप नहीं रहेंगे, लेकिन जो लिखी हुई चीज है वो रहेगी. Thank you very much.
Very enlightening presentation by you.
Thank you, sir.
And we are honored that you are in Patna. And you have really contributed, because I always go in the Lake Patel time to time. I can say that, proudly say that, one of the finest digitization
Thank you so
is
much.
done by Government of India, and you are one of the prime associate in these activities. My question, when I was going through this Khudabaksh library, but Raja Rampur library has also good archive, is not mentioned there.
They are not in top 10.
Okay.
I was stopped at top 10 of the collection.
Fine, fine. Now, my association with the physical format in '95, when I was doing my book of international importance Indian airmail development and operation, I was in Delhi for a long time to visit physically in the National Archive, the same building, and the system was very good. We have to give our
Requisition slips.
requisition, and in the evening we were getting the photocopy and what the document we required. So my focus was some British aviation related, and the file British. I noticed that during my work, nearly for 1 year, whenever I went there, whatever I wanted, 90% I got it. British, all the file was so systematically placed
Absolutely.
in the archive, whether for railway or for communication, postal, because industry department and the postal was there.
Yes.
So it was very helpful. My book was very became popular because of this National Archive. So my question is the British system, they have left very proper documentation of the filing in the National Archive. I had long association going physically, now on the your portal. But after independent, the government of India, different department, does they record the file on the same format basis? Because my question is this, because the government of India, the important transport department, communication, does they still maintain the same system of British?
Yes, they do. In fact, this subject filing system was introduced in 1921.
Okay.
And it has two portions. One is the notes portion, where all the consultation and opinions of the various authorities were recorded, and the other is the correspondence portion. So any proposal submitted by either individual or any authority would go into the correspondence portion in original, and the action on that particular issue would be recorded in the notes portion. So that practice is continued. Now they have introduced for the last 3-4 years the e-office. So instead of physical files, the same thing is being replicated into the electronic format. So there also there's a correspondence portion and the notes portion. So there's no change in the system.
So it is government of India want to record,
Yeah.
but state-wise,
State-wise, more or less, they are following the same, but many of the states, they have evolved from the princely states. For example, Bhopal,
okay.
Madhya Pradesh.
Right.
So they had a different system of record keeping, and which has impacted their. It's not the same as the government of India. They've got their own little variations. Pondicherry, for example, they inherited the French system. Goa inherited the Portuguese system, where the big registers were maintained instead of note portion in the filing system. So we have to see that what state we are talking about. But by and large, I would say that 80% of the states are more than 80%. They are following the system of the National Archives of India. And why I say so? Because the National Archives of India is also having a body called the National Committee of Archivists, and where all the state archives directors, they are the members. I was, when I was in service, I was the member secretary of that body. And through the interactions that, because we have got the similar problems of maintaining the archives and managing the records. So about 85%, I would say, they are following, 85% of the states are following the Government of India system of filing system. Subject filing system, it is called.
Very good.
Yeah.
So thank you very much again.
You're welcome,
And
sir.
Planet Patna, for this is the third evening of the lecture series.
Sir.
And I must compliment and Planet Patna family, especially Adil Jalan.
No, that's a,
So,
it calls for a big applause.
No, this is a great opportunity
Yes,
to
yes.
have you, Mr. Garg. I knew you long year, but meeting you first time because of the Patna Planet has given the opportunity.
It's a great platform, I would say, and it's just the beginning.
I can only say you are an asset to the country.
Thank you very much.
You are an asset to the country.
I'm honored. I'm honored.
And I was there in the Pondicherry, this French academy. Very well maintained, very well maintained. So thank you very much. So I have,
Welcome, sir.
anybody has any questions?
Just a small supplementary question, sir, this question. So what is the timeline between uploading the Government of India records, etc.?
You
There's no
mentioned
time
that-
lag. It's an ongoing process.
I mean, is it on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis?
Daily basis.
Okay.
If you visit Abhilekh Patel today, I don't know whether I would have shown it to you. On the top, you will find so many pages and containing so many images were uploaded on this date. So
Okay.
that date keeps on changing every single day. A few lakh images are being uploaded daily.
Yeah. And you
I mean,
mentioned
and the chances are that if you searched for a subject today, you didn't find it. Chances are that if you search the same subject 1 week down the line, chances are that by in the meantime it has been digitized and uploaded already.
you mentioned about the Gilgit papers, So
Gilgit manuscripts, yes.
can you just elaborate on that?
Gilgit manuscript, Gilgit is a place name now in POK. And there was a campaign by British explorer called Sir Aurel Stein, and he explored the entire Silk Route. And these were also discovered by him, apart from various other antiquities, ranging from terracotta figurines to textile to various other things. So the manuscript came to the National Archives of India. They are in 3 parts. One part is in SPS Museum Library in Srinagar, and the third part is in Pakistan.
Oh. So they're on the birch leaves, is it?
They are in Bhojpatra, yes, birch bark.
Birch barks. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Since Mahatma Gandhi has a unique in this our national archive. So today I am seeing here Vinay ji, आपको मैं देख रहा एक बार खड़े हुए. Vinay ji is the director of the Gandhi New Museum of Patna Tower. So Vinay ji एक बार आप परिचय दे दें, आप खड़े हैं, खड़े हो जाएं. So he is the I'm very happy that he is here. So one day he has to go there to see all the Gandhi.
No, he doesn't have to go there. Everything would be on Abhilekh Patel. Yeah. In fact, the entire murder trial papers of Mahatma Gandhi are with us. And one of the things which I should have mentioned, I missed it. One of the recent acquisitions of National Archives of India, before I said goodbye, was JP's health record. Now, if you remember, उन पे एक एलिगेशन था गवर्नमेंट पे कि उन्होंने जेल में उनकी किडनियां खराब कर दी है और दैट वाज द कॉज ऑफ हिज डेथ. So these he was like a regular medical examination was being done of JP when he was in jail. और ये हेल्थ रिकॉर्ड जो थे वो उस टाइम में जो कलेक्टर साहब थे उनके पास रह गए. वो किसी सरकारी उसमें नहीं गए. And then this person retired, and somehow the former director general of the National Archives of India, he came to know about it. और उसका भाई वो कहाँ है आपके पास, कि वो होंगे कहीं मेरे पास, मैं ढूंढूंगा. तो बोले ढूंढिए, तो उनको मिल गए वो पूरा. Now that is the only evidence of the last days of Jayaprakash Narayan, and these have been acquired recently by the National Archives of India.
कि शौक तहकीक में छुपी हर दास्तां उसने सवारी है. शौक तहकीक में छुपी हर दास्तां उसने सवारी है. वक्त के गर्द पर पड़ी गर्द को हाथों से उतारी है. Thank you so much. What illuminated, enriching session we have just experienced. On the behalf of everyone present here, I extend our sincere gratitude to Dr. Sanjay Garg sir for sharing his extraordinary insights and vast knowledge with us today. His depth of expertise and passion for exploring the archival history or heritage have given us all much to reflect upon and much to be inspired by. Dr. Garg sir, your dedication to research, teaching, and the preservation of history has left an indelible impressions on us. Thank you for so generously talking us through the fascinating journey hidden within the history, such as related to very basic for the history of paper to concept of manuscript and different languages, number of manuscripts, disposal of manuscript, and throughout about the world even, and many more on the topic. And the story, a different, very interesting stories too. We are truly privileged to have you here with us, and we look forward to following your work and learning from you in the future. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Adit Jalan sir to present one token of appreciation to the Dr. Garg. Thank you very much, sir. There's some more announcement, so I'm passing to the Mr. Jalan sir.
So we have Shri Vashraji. He was to present 2 books to our planet, Patna, Lanka. Maybe you can just talk a bit about these books. I can take it.
Thank you, Aditya. Since planet Patna is going to become the cultural hub of Patna, the city center, so we thought that we had some books, which were published and by us, and we thought there would be good additions to this place. So this is a book on Dr. Shiv Singh, the first Chief Minister of Bihar, and it was published in 1961 by Mr. L. Shahid, who was a minister in Mr. Shri Babu's cabinet. And this records for a number of photographs. And this was published just before the death of Dr. Shiv Singh during his life, and was presented to him. So Mr. L. Shahid, just before his death in the age of 98 plus years, in 2018, told his daughter, that I don't have any copies of this book yet, and the one which I have is also, termite eaten on. So can you reprint it? So this book is the effort of his daughter, Ujjwala Shahid, and
It's your right.
she has brought this book out, and it is a pictorial history of the life of Dr. Shiv Singh. So we thought that this would be a good addition to this Patna planet. And this is another book which was published by Mr. Shahid, and it is a record of the correspondence between Dr. Shiv Singh as Chief Minister of Bihar and Jawaharlal Nehru. And many of the letters here are top secret and all, and some of them were written in hand by Jawaharlal Nehru. And what is to be appreciated is that when the Chief Minister of Bihar used to write to Nehru ji, the very next day he used to reply, many times in hand, handwritten letters. So that is the kind of visionaries we had as leaders who made India and Bihar. So it's a very good collection, and this was released by the former President of India, when she was President, Pratibha Patil and Rashtrapati. So these 2 books, and you would be very happy to.
I have a small presentation from Ganesh Devaji.
पहले तो मैं अजित को पहले तो मैं अजित को ये किताब लेकर आया था आज मैं कि भाई साहब को दूंगा, तो अजित ने कहा भाई आज कार्यक्रम हो रहा है तो उसी में आप मेरे को प्रेजेंट कर दीजिएगा, लाइब्रेरी में रखने में काम आएगी। तो ये सचित राम कथा है, ये मेरे 5-6 साल के मेहनत का प्रतिफल है, और मैं 1918-19 में इस काम में लगा था। ये एक पिक्टोरियल रामायण है, बच्चों के लिए, बच्चों की भाषा में, सरल भाषा में लिखी हुई है। इसमें अध्यात्म रामायण, वाल्मीकि रामायण और रामचरितमानस, 3 ये जो हिंदी के प्रसिद्ध ग्रंथ हैं, तीनों ग्रंथों से प्रमुख प्रसंगों को उठा करके और कहानी स्वरूप में उसको लिखा हुआ है। इसमें कुल 105 कहानियाँ हैं, 336 पेज हैं, और ये हार्ड बाउंड बाइंडिंग है, और प्रथम एडिशन में इसकी 50,000 प्रतियां में छपाई है, जो सारी हमारे हाथ, अब मेरे हाथ में कुछ है नहीं, 2-3 हज़ार बची हुई है। तो ये विमोचन इसका इसी 3 जुलाई को हुआ है, राज्यपाल महोदयों के कार्यक्रमों द्वारा, और उसमें विश्व हिंदू परिषद के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष आलोक कुमार भी आए थे, विधानसभा अध्यक्ष भी आए थे, और कुछ और भी सेलिब्रिटी उसमें थी उस कार्यक्रम में। और संयोग से भाई साहब यहाँ नहीं थे और आप भी शायद बाहर जाने होते, प्रेजेंट नहीं हो पाए थे। तो ये किताब मैं यहाँ प्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ लाइब्रेरी के लिए। और बाकी तो आप पढ़िए तब पता लगेगा कि क्या है क्या नहीं है। लोगों की बहुत प्रशंसा मिली है और अपने मुंह से ही कह रहा हूँ, मतलब मैं कहते हैं तो दिल की बात कह रहा हूँ मैं। तो यही कारण है कि ये प्री प्रेस कॉपी लोगों को दिखाने के बाद मेरे को विमोचन के पहले ही समझिए कि मेरे पास 50-55 हज़ार कॉपी का ऑर्डर मेरे पास आ चुका था। और इसका एक कारण और भी है कि मैं एज ए चैरिटी ये राम को जन जन तक पहुंचाने के लिए मैं काम कर रहा हूं कि कॉस्ट प्राइस से भी कम में, समझिए कॉस्ट प्राइस में लोगों को दे रहा हूं मैं। इस आपको मार्केटिंग अभी शुरू नहीं किया हमने। जो हमारे संपर्की लोगों की संपर्क करता हूं, किसी को 1,500, 2,000, 5,000 लोग इस किताबें ले रहे हैं। तो आज ये स्थिति, और 25,000 फर्दर नेक्स्ट एडिशन छपने के लिए जा चुका प्रेस में।
अब तो नामुमकिन है कि हालात की गुत्थी सुलझे, अब तो नामुमकिन है कि हालात की गुत्थी सुलझे, अहले जालान ने बहुत सोच कर उलझाई है। थैंक यू सो मच।